seminal retention and spirituality are intimately linked, paths to self-mastery and higher consciousness for many. The journey goes far beyond physical discipline. It's about liberating the profound potential of the mind, body, and soul. However, not all techniques lead to liberation. Some methods, while seemingly harmless or even beneficial, can disrupt the delicate energy balance and hinder spiritual progress. In this video, we explore the forbidden techniques to avoid and how to achieve liberation, a higher state of consciousness through ethical mindfulness practices. Understanding these forbidden techniques and their implications is crucial. It's not about fear or dogmatism, but about awareness and intentionality. Every mistake can teach us something profound, if we are willing to learn. By exploring this complex terrain, we will discover practical strategies to channel your energy, transcend your limitations, and awaken your higher self. Let's begin by exploring the pitfalls to avoid. The illusion of repression. Repression often begins. While discipline is essential for controlling physical urges, repression is not synonymous with transformation. The first mistake to avoid is trying to deny or repress desires without addressing their root causes. Repression creates inner conflict that leads to frustration, resentment, and ultimately relapse. By repressing, you are only blocking energy that, sooner or later, will find an outlet, potentially manifesting as anger, anxiety, or other negative emotions. Instead of repressing, focus on transmutation, redirecting sexual energy toward creative and spiritual activities. By doing so, you'll harmonize with the natural flow of energy, instead of fighting it. Meditation and mindfulness help identify the source of your desires. Do they stem from loneliness, boredom, or social conditioning? Awareness is the first step toward transformation. Repression blocks this awareness, keeping you trapped in cycles of guilt and shame. Remember, this energy cannot be destroyed, only redirected. The key is to channel it. Techniques like pranayama, breath control, and creative visualizations can raise one's sexual energy and integrate it with spiritual growth. Essentially, repression is a shadow disguised as strength. True power lies in integration and mastery, not denial. By avoiding repression, one opens the way to authentic growth and deeper self-knowledge. Another technique to avoid is excessive reliance on external tools, such as dietary supplements, aphrodisiacs, or the overuse of affirmations. While they may seem like easy solutions, can hinder the natural process of spiritual development. The path to heightened awareness requires inner alignment, not external support. Dietary supplements and aphrodisiacs often promise increased vitality or self-control, but they create a dependency that weakens inner strength. True self-control comes from cultivating natural energy through rigorous practices such as meditation, yoga, and a healthy diet, rather than relying on external resources. HIV disconnects you from your inner strength. Affirmations, even positive ones, can become a trap if overused without deep introspection. Repeating them without internalizing their deeper meaning creates a superficial confidence that can crumble under pressure. The path to greater awareness requires authenticity and lived experience, not empty repetition. Instead of seeking external tools, invest in practices that strengthen your inner strength. Journaling, for example, allows you to track your progress and identify recurring patterns. Fasting has a purifying power. Not only the body, but also the mind, creates fertile ground for spiritual perception. These practices ground you in self-confidence and resilience. The temptation to take shortcuts is strong, but it often leads to stagnation. Remember, the best tools are already within you: your breath, your mind, and your will. Trust them, and you will see that external tools become useless distractions. Neglecting emotional alchemy is a common mistake on Sean's path to spiritual preservation. In alchemy, many focus solely on physical discipline, neglecting the emotional and mental energies that fuel their desires. This neglect is a forbidden technique that can lead to imbalance and exhaustion. Emotions, or energy and movement, when repressed or ignored, they stagnate and hinder spiritual growth. For example, unresolved anger or sadness can manifest as compulsive behaviors, compromising spiritual commitment. The key lies in recognizing, integrating, and transforming these emotions through techniques such as shadow therapy. Shadow work and inner child healing are invaluable in this case. Shadow work involves confronting the darker aspects of your psyche, such as guilt, shame, or fear. By bringing these shadows into the light, you free yourself from their unconscious hold. Inner child healing, on the other hand, helps you process unmet needs and past wounds, fostering a sense of wholeness. Journaling and practicing introspective meditation are concrete tools for emotional transformation. When you experience a strong craving or compulsion, ask yourself what emotion is driving it and what unmet need you are suppressing. By answering these questions, you can transform your emotional energy into spiritual growth. Ignoring emotional alchemy is like trying to sail a ship with invisible holes in its hull. No matter how disciplined you are, unresolved emotions will eventually resurface and hinder your progress. Integrate emotional alchemy as an essential component of your path, and you will navigate troubled waters with grace and wisdom. Misusing spiritual practices is a mistake. These practices are powerful tools for growth, but when misused, they can become forbidden techniques that impede your progress. The misuse of progress often stems from self-centered motivations or a lack of understanding of practices such as meditation, mantra recitation, and breathing exercises, which should be approached with humility and respect. A common mistake is to practice solely for results, such as increased energy or spiritual powers. This results-oriented mindset creates attachment, which is the opposite of spiritual growth. True spirituality is about letting go, not control. When you seek results, you feed the ego instead of transcending it. Another mistake is to practice without proper guidance is essential. Advanced techniques like Kundalini awakening or Tantra require a deep understanding and often the supervision of a qualified teacher. Attempting them prematurely can lead to imbalances, such as overstimulation of the nervous system or spiritual disorientation. Another common mistake is compartmentalizing one's spirituality. Some people meditate in the morning but don't integrate spiritual principles into their daily lives. This lack of consistency creates a fragmented approach that hinders progress. Spirituality should infuse every aspect of your being, from your interactions with others to your decision-making. To avoid these pitfalls, approach spiritual practices with intention and integrity. Begin with foundational techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, and grounding exercises. Seek guidance from reliable sources and prioritize integration over experimentation. Remember that the journey is as important as the destination. If you neglect your body, remember that the path to higher consciousness is holistic. It encompasses mind, body, and soul. The physical body is a forbidden technique that can hinder your progress. Your body is the temple through which spiritual energy flows. If it is weak or unbalanced, your spiritual practices will be affected. Poor diet, lack of exercise, and insufficient sleep are common ways to neglect physical health. These habits lower your vibration, making it difficult to maintain the high, energetic states necessary for spiritual growth. For example, consuming processed foods can cloud your mind and dull your senses, hindering meditation and energy work. Another form of neglect is the excessive pursuit of comfort. While rest and relaxation are important, an excessive pursuit of comfort leads to stagnation. A spiritual path requires discipline and a willingness to step outside of one's comfort zone. Practices such as cold baths and intermittent fasting can build resilience and increase energy. Physical neglect also includes ignoring the subtle body. Practices like yoga and qigong harmonize the flow of energy throughout the body, thus promoting spiritual development. Strengthen your body while awakening its latent energies to honor it. Adopt a lifestyle that promotes vitality. Nourish yourself with whole, nutrient-rich foods, exercise regularly, and prioritize rest and recovery. By taking care of your body, you create a solid foundation for your journey toward heightened awareness. Overestimating willpower is a crucial and forbidden technique. On the path to spirituality and spiritual perseverance, many believe that sheer determination is enough to overcome obstacles. In practice, temptation and perseverance, while important, are limited resources that deplete over time, especially with constant exposure to stimuli. Relying solely on willpower leads to failure. This approach often overlooks the need for a supportive environment and healthy habits. For example, if you are constantly exposed to temptations, whether online or in your daily life, your willpower will eventually wear thin. To succeed, you must create an ecosystem conducive to achieving your goals. Start today. By identifying and eliminating triggers, you replace harmful habits with positive ones. If you find yourself spending time on social media, replace that habit with reading, meditation, or writing. Establishing a mindful routine helps you preserve your willpower for when you truly need it. Cultivating mindfulness is another effective strategy. Mindfulness allows you to observe your impulses without reacting impulsively. By understanding the fleeting nature of desires, you gain control over your actions. Combine mindfulness with accountability, whether through a mentor, a supportive community, or by tracking your progress. Remember, willpower is a tool, not a solution. By creating a supportive environment and integrating mindfulness practices, you develop resilience and prepare for lasting success on this transformative journey. Spiritual arrogance. As you progress on your spiritual path, it's easy to fall into the trap of spiritual arrogance. This forbidden practice manifests when you consider yourself superior to others because of your practices or knowledge. Spiritual progress and growth are a deeply personal and humble quest, not a competition. Spiritual arrogance often stems from an attachment to identity. For example, defining oneself as a practitioner of semen retention or as a follower of spirituality can create a sense of separation from others. This separation contradicts the very essence of higher consciousness, which is based on unity and interconnectedness. To avoid this pitfall, cultivate humility. Remember that the path is continuous, and there is always room for growth. This is the truth. Wisdom lies in recognizing all that we still have to learn, in approaching others with compassion and open-mindedness, understanding that everyone follows their own path. Practices such as keeping a gratitude journal and engaging in introspection can help to manage spiritual arrogance. By focusing on your own growth rather than comparing yourself to others, you preserve your authenticity. Also, seek out communities where humility and mutual respect are valued. Spiritual arrogance is an obstacle to awakening. By cultivating humility and interconnectedness, you deepen your spirituality. Spiritual practice and alignment with your life's purpose are essential. Another practice to avoid is misinterpreting celibacy. Many equate spiritual abstinence with a complete renunciation of relationships and intimacy, leading to feelings of isolation and imbalance. While celibacy can be a valuable tool for some, it is not a one-size-fits-all solution. The goal of spiritual abstinence is not to reject intimacy, but to cultivate conscious connection. Misinterpreting celibacy can lead to emotional repression and imbalance, disconnecting from the richness of human connection. Intimacy, when approached mindfully, can be a sacred exchange of energy that enriches your spiritual growth. To avoid this pitfall, rethink your understanding of celibacy. It's not about avoiding intimacy, but about experiencing it responsibly. Learn to channel your sexual energy toward deeper emotional and spiritual connections. Practices such as tantric, meditation, and heart-centered communication can help you cultivate a balanced approach. It's also important to recognize that celibacy is a choice, not an obligation. Your path should align with your personal values and aspirations. Whatever your choice, celibacy or conscious intimacy, the essential thing is to remain true to yourself and your spiritual path. A misinterpretation of celibacy leads to unnecessary rigidity. By adopting a balanced perspective, you can live your life to the fullest without losing sight of your purpose. It's easy to fall into the trap of over-intellectualizing the path to spiritual abstinence and spirituality. Intellectualization, this prescribed technique, occurs when one focuses excessively on theories, philosophies, or techniques, to the detriment of practical experience. This excessive intellectualization creates a gap between knowledge and practice. While understanding concepts is important, true progress stems from integrating them into practice. For example, reading about meditation does not provide the same benefits as regular practice. Similarly, analyzing energy flow will not improve it without concrete practices such as breathing exercises or yoga. This trap often stems from a fear of vulnerability. Practicing spirituality requires stepping outside the mind and opening the heart, which can be uncomfortable. However, transformation occurs when this discomfort is accepted and you allow yourself to live fully. To combat over-intellectualization, prioritize action over analysis. Dedicate time each day to meditation, writing, or other activities that connect you to the present. Balance learning and practice, and integrate this knowledge into your daily life. Remember, spirituality is not about accumulating information, but about cultivating wisdom through experience. By grounding yourself in practice, you transcend the limitations of the mind and access the realm of higher consciousness. Neglecting the role of community is a mistake that can lead to isolation, stagnation, and a loss of meaning. Sean's spiritual journey is deeply personal, but it should not be undertaken alone. Empowerment. Human beings are social creatures by nature, and social connections are essential for their development. A supportive community offers encouragement, empowerment, and knowledge sharing. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people helps maintain motivation and balance. Whether on an online forum, in a meditation group, or with a trusted mentor, finding your community can accelerate your progress. However, not all communities are beneficial. Be selective in choosing the groups you participate in. Avoid those that encourage judgment, competition, or rigidity. Conversely, ideologies seek spaces that value openness, mutual respect, and genuine growth. Participating in a community doesn't mean losing one's individuality, but rather sharing a path and learning from others. Practices like group meditation or support groups can strengthen discipline and deepen understanding. Ultimately, the role of the community is to inspire and support. By connecting with others, the spiritual path is enriched, and a domino effect of positivity occurs, transcending the individual. The trap of perfectionism, a technique condemned on Sean's path of perseverance and spirituality, is the belief that practices must be followed to the letter. This creates unnecessary pressure that leads to guilt and self-criticism when failure inevitably occurs. This mindset transforms the spiritual path into a rigid obligation rather than a transformative process. Perfectionism often stems from a fear of failure or judgment. It is essential to recognize that setbacks, like any mistake, are a natural part of growth. This offers you the opportunity to learn and discover yourself by embracing imperfection. You move from unattainable ideals to genuine progress, rather than striving for perfection. Cultivate consistency, set realistic goals, and celebrate your small victories if you stumble. Use the opportunity to reflect and adjust, instead of blaming yourself. This approach fosters resilience and long-term commitment. Practices like self-compassion and meditation can help you combat perfectionism. Remember that you are human and that growth is a journey. By letting go of the need for perfection, you open yourself to the joy and richness of spiritual practice. If, after all, perfectionism is an obstacle, not a bridge, accept imperfection as an essential part of your path, and you will find greater peace and authenticity in your practice. Another technique to avoid is placing excessive emphasis on results. The desire to achieve specific goals, such as increased energy or spiritual awakening, can distract you from the very essence of your path. Adopting this result-oriented mindset diverts attention from the present to future goals, generating anxiety and dissatisfaction. The spiritual path is not a transaction. True growth arises from surrendering to the journey, without attachment to outcomes. By focusing excessively on results, you risk losing sight of the transformative power of the process itself. For example, meditating solely to experience happiness can lead to frustration if that state is not achieved. To avoid this pitfall, cultivate an attitude of detachment. Focus on the practice rather than the results. Engage in activities like mindfulness meditation or keeping a gratitude journal to connect with the present and appreciate the journey. Embrace the natural flow of your growth and transformation. Redefine your criteria for success instead of seeking tangible outcomes. Appreciate the subtle shifts in awareness and understanding that emerge from your efforts. These intangible benefits often have a profound impact on your life. Remember, the journey is the reward. By freeing yourself from the need for specific results, you open yourself to the infinite possibilities of spiritual growth. Ignoring intuition, a precious guide on the spiritual path, is a common mistake, as many reject it in favor of rigid structures or external advice. This often frowned upon practice hinders your connection to inner wisdom, essential for authentic growth. Ignoring your intuition often stems from a lack of self-confidence. You may believe that others, teachers, books, or online resources know what you're doing. While guidance is valuable, it should complement, not replace, your intuition. Spirituality is a deeply personal journey, and your intuition usually knows what's best for you. To strengthen it, learn to listen to your inner voice. Techniques like writing, meditation, and spending time in nature can help you connect with your intuition. Pay attention to the subtle signals your body and mind send you, and learn to distinguish fear-fueled thoughts from genuine intuition. It is also important to balance intuition and discernment. While your inner voice is a valuable guide, ensure it aligns with your ethical principles and broader spiritual goals. By combining intuition and conscious reflection, you create a harmonious approach to personal growth. Trusting your intuition fosters self-confidence and authenticity. By honoring this inner wisdom, you move forward on your path with confidence and clarity, without neglecting the importance of service. The path of perseverance and spirituality often emphasizes personal development, but neglecting the importance of service is a mistake that hinders your progress. True spirituality transcends the ego and encompasses compassion and a desire to help others. Service is a powerful way to channel the energy cultivated through observation and reflection. By placing your heightened vitality and awareness at the service of others, you align yourself with higher principles and deepen your spiritual connection. Acts of kindness, mentorship, and community involvement create a ripple effect, spreading positivity and fostering well-being. Interconnectedness and neglect of service can lead to self-centeredness or stagnation. Focusing solely on personal development risks distorting one's perspective. Spirituality is not limited to individual transformation. It also involves contributing to the collective well-being. Integrating service into one's path can be simple. Volunteering for a cause close to one's heart, listening attentively to those in need, or sharing one's knowledge and experience. These actions not only benefit others, but also enrich one's own journey. A sense of purpose and accomplishment. Remember, the energy you cultivate should not be kept to yourself, but shared. By integrating service as a central aspect of your practice, you uplift yourself and the world around you. In conclusion, Sean's path between spiritual retention and personal development is a path of self-mastery and transformation. Avoiding forbidden techniques is not about following rigid rules, but about cultivating awareness and intentionality. Repression, excessive reliance on external tools, emotional neglect, and misuse of spiritual practices are all potential pitfalls. Physical and mental neglect is an obstacle to your progress. By approaching these challenges with mindfulness and integrity, you can unlock your true potential, transform your energy, integrate your shadow self, and incorporate spiritual principles into every aspect of your life. This path is not just about developing greater awareness, but about becoming the best version of yourself. Throughout this journey, remember that growth is a process, not a destination. Every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to your full potential. Have confidence in yourself throughout the process. Appreciate your journey, and embrace the profound transformation that awaits you. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel to discover more